We may not have a game show today, but the LCS is still packing plenty of action as the playoff race heats up. Here come the Thieves making their way into the arena. Jensen, sporting one of those fancy new jerseys for the Team Liquid squad. Picked up a really solid win just yesterday with Tactical in the lineup, looking to do the same today. If they could come away with a 2-0 weekend, that'd be huge for a TL without their star ADC. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LCS Countdown. For 30 minutes, we jump into franchise mode and go through mid lane tier lists until the timer reaches 0, and we jump into champion select. The teams in the middle of the standings are still bobbing in and out of position, with Immortals slipping down to 5 and 6, while Team Liquid moved up to tie them. All this as Cloud9 sit unscathed at 11 and 0, and as a result of their 11th consecutive win, locked the first playoff spot.
Finally, we knew it was going to happen. We knew that they were going to be the best team, and now they're...
Finally. It sounds like you wanted them to do it faster.
No, I just mean like we keep being like, you know, if
yeah, they should have gotten to 11 wins by week 3. Right. I mean, come on.
No, what were
I meant lock the playoffs. It's official. We can finally say it. We've known that they were going to lock playoffs first. It's happened now. We can move on.
It's pretty likely that they're also our international representatives, and for once, I really feel excited. I think looking at the global scene of League, well, I felt very excited for many years before, but always had my heart broken. Now, I feel like looking at the landscape, Cloud9 legitimately looks like they are an international contender.
Well, we're still looking for 5 teams to join them in the playoff picture. Our Sunday has Team Liquid looking to take a win off of 100 Thieves with CLG versus TSM in Game 3 of the day. 2 more matches before we call it a day. LCS returns Monday night, where Tigris and the analysts will be bringing you the final 2 matches of the week, all before the Bud Light League Lounge, where Dignitas' own Huni and Froggen join Riv and Ovely for a fun evening to wrap up the week. Always enjoy having those guys around. Team Liquid returns to the stage, though, for Game 1 today. And while it may have been under unfavorable circumstances just yesterday, I think it's safe to say Tactical has completely saved Team Liquid.
Is it unfavorable, though? I asked that question because if you look at their stats, Tactical this split has been substantially better than Doublelift. Look at these numbers. 100% win rate.
Convincing.
All right, his KDA is twice as high.
And more than twice.
More than twice.
Wow.
I'm great with numbers. His goal difference is better. Everything about Tactical looks better than Doublelift. And it's not just about those two in the head-to-head matchup. It's the entire team, too.
You know,
look at this gank.
These 2 guys have actually been playing solo queue a ton. Corey JJ and
Yeah, you just got ganked by Crumbs.
Yeah.
I saw it. I saw it.
I was like, B-roll.
Your
talking
analysis got ganked by his analysis. We'll come back to yours in a moment, Mark. Please.
They're top 10 in solo
Only
queue.
Tactical was here.
Tactical and Corey JJ are top 10, so they actually duo queue a bunch, which I think kind of plays to your point as half joking.
The segment would have been flawless if Tactical was here.
I can sub out. Come on.
All right, yeah, it's not too late.
The B-roll.
We don't have the B-roll, unfortunately. So, faded.
There was a whole
and
joke about
outsmarted.
Dramatic reenactment.
There was a whole
dramatic reenactment.
Body slam.
There was a whole joke about Broxah being able to gank top lane because he's not on Doublelift's leash, so he can actually reach the top lane.
Yep. Ruined.
It's over.
Boy,
My joke is
devastation.
We're, of course, joking here, but only to illustrate the point that... Yeah, okay, sorry. To illustrate the point that Team Liquid as a whole did look better yesterday, even considering this substitution.
I mean, I feel like you just have to at that point, because otherwise you'd feel like the whole team relied so much about Double, but you got stars everywhere. I mean, players like Impact, I think, are in playoff mode. Somebody that legitimately tries his hardest there. You need to try hard now to make it to the playoffs.
And I think one of the things we're seeing is that TL are working on their issues, and while Doublelift may not be there, the rest of the team can still improve, fix some of their own issues, and hopefully, you know, when Doublelift is healthy, he can slot back in, then the team can look even better.
I think it's hopeful to see, but I am a little worried about, you know, what it means for some of the other teams too, because Tactical played MF, pretty easy one to play with the bullet time. I want to see if they can keep picking up wins because he's still in today.
Right.
And that's where I start to worry a little bit about how well they will do now that people have seen what Tactical has played the first game.
They got that 1-game sample size to start targeting him with. Of course, he's been playing in
as
Academy.
well.
You're right.
Yeah.
So
200% win rate yesterday. That's 2 games.
That's
Add them up.
True. Very true. But overall, this is a better-looking Team Liquid, but also a better-looking 100 Thieves, right? When we look at their opponents, yesterday a solid victory for the 100 Thieves squad, and in particular, Meteos, who has had a tough split, looked significantly better individually.
Right, I think we saw his best game yesterday, probably of the split out of Meteos, where he affected multiple lanes and was able to pick up kills all over the map.
I mean, I think what the problem has been for these guys is that the 2v2 synergy keeps getting exploited by the other 2v2 mid laner, which usually just picks on the jungler, which makes Meteos struggle a lot more. And now he picked up the Rek'Sai, was a lot more aggressive in being able to really have agency in the early game to defend yourself. Use the tremor sense to figure out if someone's invading you. Pretty easy way to deter somebody that's trying to mess with you early.
Right, first blood in the bot lane, took that advantage across the map, helped his team to a victory. With the playoffs race heating up, Meteos shared his thoughts on 100 Thieves playstyle and where they need to be leveling up.
I think we're just figuring it out is the best way I would describe our team, where a lot of times what happens in our games is, you know, sometimes we're doing the right thing, but a lot of times we're missing the windows that we need to, or like just missing opportunities. So we end up kind of playing slower than we need to, not putting as much pressure as we should. And we've let some games slip away because of that. So I think we're really just figuring it out. But by the end of the split, hopefully we'll be, you know, a very aggressive team, one that's, you know, decisive, plays fast, hard to play against is sort of what we're going for, but it takes a lot of time to get there. There's a lot of moving parts, and you know, if some of them don't line up, then you kind of are in this like awkward area where it's like, okay, well, we set up for this play that we can't really do anymore because so-and-so like wasn't ready, so now everyone has to like back off. And when you're playing against a team that does that, you're just like, okay, they're trolling, like they're doing nothing. So that's definitely a situation we found ourselves in, but I think we're working on it and been making pretty good improvement.
I mean, I do think we saw a bit of what he's talking about yesterday in their game, though it was a pretty dominant win. They closed out the game fairly quickly. There was multiple times where, you know, they were 7,000 to 10,000 gold ahead in the game. They killed Svenskeren twice in a row, didn't even attempt the Baron, right? Let alone take a Baron in that game. They never even tried it, and it did seem like you were seeing some of that hesitancy that maybe he's talking about, where perhaps someone doesn't feel prepared to go for that play, someone is on a different page, and that can make you really slow down.
I think in those moments, you have to take the decision of making the right play and then using the replay afterwards to say you should have been in this position, because otherwise you're just never gonna have somebody that uses information and turns it into action.
So so you're saying you feel like this is a little bit more on the shot caller's shoulders, not presupposing who's going to make the call, but somebody at some point has to be decisive and say, this is the call. Now later we can go back and look at the tape and identify whether the call was right or the response to the call was right.
To Azael's point, when you kill the enemy jungler, it's like the best time to do the Baron, and it's such a good time that you can actually mess it up, not get the objective, but still get a pick or get something for yourself, whereas 100 Thieves is just kind of, hey, we got a pick, let's just do that again.
Right, well, it does seem like Meteos has a sense, right, that these are issues and that they are working towards this. I know from talking to Papa Smithy that Spring Split, while they are in contention right now, big tie for 5th place for playoffs, was very much intended to be, you know, a ramp-up split with the young gun of Ryoma in the mid lane, and so trying to work towards maybe a future championship, but already identifying some of those issues. We are going to take a quick break, but a reminder that if you want your tickets for the Spring Finals in Frisco, Texas, all the info you need is available at visitlcs.com. That's VISIT. Got it right, Azael. LCS.com. Get yours so I can see you in Texas, and we'll be back for more LCS Countdown. Welcome back to the LCS Countdown, where we are about 16 minutes away from that first game of the day. 18. My eyes deceived me in that moment. Sorry to bait you.
It was a glare.
Just past the halfway point of the split, it's do or die times for the teams near the bottom of the standings. So I'm assigning the three of you 3 different teams, and you are now the general managers. You need to decide, do you make a trade to try and help that push towards playoff, or do you sack Spring Split, look towards summer, and kind of keep chugging along? So it will be Immortals here for Azael. Crumbs, you're going to have Evil Geniuses, and Mark, you are going to have 100 Thieves.
Papa bless.
But we're starting here with
Put him out of a job. You're a monster. Oh, no.
Immortals, what are you doing?
All right, well, Immortals 4-game losing streak. They were 5-2, now they are 5-6. I want to make a trade. I think this is a team that can make playoffs, but they need a stronger mid laner. We have seen Ica for quite a few weeks now. He's been making critical errors, and I think you have to go with someone who has a higher ceiling.
Okay.
To me, I'm gonna make an offer to CLG for Crown. Crown is not being used right now on the Academy team or the LCS team, I think that CLG would be open to a buyout for his contract, considering you're probably paying him quite a bit. You're not using him on either team. And if you can get 2019 crown, if you can get the crown we saw from last year, maybe that change of scenery, the players working around him, playing with a jungler like Smithy, playing with Soaz, who has a lot of experience, if they can get on the same page, that could really, I think, slingshot this team towards top standings.
That top side of the map, all of a sudden, in terms of collective experience, is very scary.
It's not 2020 crowd.
It's not,
2019
just not
crowd.
2020
He was on
crown.
Optic before.
But you are,
they're
just to clarify, you are proposing a straight buyout because Crown is sitting on the bench, isn't being used, so we're not shipping Aka away. We are just picking up Crown for a hefty, presumably a hefty price.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think that way you have a little bit of safety. If Crown works out, hey, you move to him as the full-time starter. If he's not working out, then you still do have Aka there.
Still investing in Aka. Crumbs, over to you for EG. What's the answer?
So for me, EG is very obviously not on the same page. So I want to get them to play together, increase the overall communication, and get them a top laner that I think is being praised by every single top laner. And I'm going to make a double trade with CLG. We're going to do Kumo and Jizuke for Ruin and Pobelter. Now, why Pobelter? Pobelter speaks English and Korean very fluently, and I think if you have him and Ruin on the same team, now you have Bang. You can all in on Bang and make sure that he's now feeling like he can communicate his points across to the team. And CLG should be okay with this because they're not making playoffs, so I think it can be a good training spot for Kumo to improve and for Jizuke to continue testing limits. That's what he wants to do. He wants to have a good time. I think CLG is the perfect place to do it.
I like that for CLG. They need some playmaking, and Jizuke,
He can win you a game.
he'll win you some games.
Right,
On
if your argument is that sometimes CLG, struggles with doing something.
they already have communication
pulling
problems.
the trigger.
Jizuke,
They
make it worse.
Okay, great, yeah. Mark's diagnosis. You already have issues. You already have issues. Why don't I just substitute this one for another one?
Just
Help
add
me
a
out.
plus.
Great salesman over there, Mark. This excites me for your
you go for
solution.
100 Thieves.
For 100
Papa, you-
Thieves. What are you doing, buddy?
All right, so I have spoken to Papa a little bit, and he was saying that they are in a bit of a holding pattern, and so he wants to see how Ryoma develops.
We know that is their
That is
take
his
already.
stance. Boring. Let's have some fun. You have a lot of veterans on the team. Someday, Meteos, Cody Sun, all these guys have Worlds experience and more. And so I think that you want to get them into a win now mentality, and I think you can do that while still developing talent. I don't think you need to completely ditch Ryoma. So I actually want to approach Dignitas Academy for a trade.
Gotcha.
I want to grab up Demonte and Lorlo, and I'm going to give up Fake God and Saligo. And so the reason for this is I can now put Ryoma on my academy team and move Demonte up to the starter. He has experience with Cody Sun already. They went to Worlds together. He has played with Korean top laners before, like Huni, so he should be able to slot into this team fairly quickly, be enough of an upgrade, I think, to make a playoff push, because right now they're right on the bubble. I could see them making playoffs or not. I think this solidifies them playoffs in spring and maybe pushes them all the way into Worlds aspirations for summer, and it's a little bit less of a question mark than developing Ryoma with three guys who are pretty late in their careers already.
It's an interesting workaround because I think most people are looking at the 100 Thieves, I'm going to say problem. I don't think it's an actual problem, but they're kind of looking at the situation going, it's either Ryoma or someone else. And you've found a workaround that says we can still invest in this young player that, follow through on our mission statement from the beginning of the year. But there's also a way to pick up the wins here in spring and actually contest for a championship.
Yeah, I like it. I also like that Immortals has the DeLorean to go back in time and get 2019 crown.
Yeah, that's
I mean, if they have that, why don't we just go back a couple more years,
Right, yeah. Then they're just going back to their 17-1 split.
Yeah.
Immortals is just going straight back and rerunning that playoffs that they got
That sounds
eliminated
nice.
from. Okay, fair enough. Well, while we're inventing time travel, we're also heading to a break. But do you want a completely free way to attend that finals in Texas? MasterCard might have you covered. There are two ways to enter, or to win, rather, a set of tickets for free. Either purchase RP using your MasterCard or save that card in the league client. Both ways automatically enter you to win. Get that squared away, and we'll see you here for more Countdown after this. Welcome back to the LCS Countdown. In not too long, Team Liquid will be facing off against 100 Thieves. But before that, we're looking at another set of tier lists, this time from the mid lane. Mark, mid lane has long been considered one of the most important roles on Summoner's Rift, but it feels like this year the role itself is going through a bit of an evolution.
Right. I don't think it's historically any less important. When you look at it, it's the most important role on the map. It's so hard to win a championship without a great mid laner. The one you maybe point out as like the worst was Huhi, who was top 4 at his time and the best roamer in the whole split. So you do need a great mid to actually contest. And while I think the important variables have changed, it's not quite as lane dominant, there still are some really key metrics to look at.
Yes, such as your synergy with your jungler is super important, your champion pool, and right now it's all about just giving your lane up to help everybody else out. And it looks really good because when you find a roam, you actually get a scoreline, your team gets ahead, but if you don't get anything, you're setting yourself behind, your team gets nothing. So it's really easy, I think, to tell what the upper echelon of mid laners are and the ones that are not getting those kills.
All right, well, with this shift of metrics, now I want to take a look at both of your tier lists and see who tops the tables. I think it will come as
we're
no
so
surprise
standard.
to anyone. There's a lot of alignment here, but Niski, of course, is in that #1 spot, unanimous for the both of you. 11-0 season, I think it's hard to argue with any Cloud9 member.
Yeah, Niski has been a powerhouse. He's been playing super relevant champions as well, the Kiana, the Zoes, even Veigar as well. So not only does he bring something that has a lot of agency, but his synergy with Blabber is insane. You find both of them across the map, just hand in hand, crushing everyone.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is we're talking about what's important for mid laners now. It's about getting your entire team ahead, not just you. I don't care if you have a 10 CS lead anymore. I care that, on Zoe, he roamed up to top and bot lane and snowballed with kills and helped support his other teammates. And I think that's what he does better than anyone else is he converts the roams that he does make into positive trades for his entire team.
That K+A at 15, it's always been a very pretty stat for Niski
Yes.
and generally points to him getting out of the lane. Jumping down the list to Bjergsen, always a part of the conversation for best mid laner in the LCS. You both agree he's #3.
And I like that he's always trying to find new ways to redefine himself. I think things like the Ornn, like the Maokai mid that he's tried, shows that he's willing to try to put himself more in the support position, hopefully roaming around the map to set up kills with his team, maybe not executing on it quite as well as Niski, but still trying to play that playstyle and allow Broken Blade to be what feels like the primary carry for TSM.
And I think that playstyle also allows Dardoch to have more of his niche picks because Bjergsen's willing to take a backseat, play those supporting champions, let your jungler shine when it's time for him to shine. But if he has to bust out that Syndra,
it's still nasty.
he will still body you.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So we got everything from Ornn and Maokai to Syndra with this player, and that is why he'll still remain in the top 3. Next up, let's talk Pobelter. Quite obviously a recent re-addition to the LCS, but you have him as high as 7th here, Mark, whereas Crumbs, you got him down in that 10th slot. So Crumbs, coming to you first, why is it that he's in last?
So he only has 2 games, and I feel like the sample size is just too small for him. The man was not playing mid lane until a few weeks ago. He was playing coach. He just runs into a new team.
He was playing coach. Yeah!
Runs into a new team where no one looks good on CLG right now, so I feel like the sample size is just way too small. If I could give him a score, it would be an N/A for him. It's just not quality.
That's
okay, fair enough.
Completely fair, yeah. I think for me, he played the #1 and #2 teams his opening week. We haven't seen him yet so far this weekend. So he had a really tough showing. He did have some decent laning in that time before they kind of got smacked around. He died a ton, but I appreciate that he was trying to make plays for the team, a lot of aggressive shuffles in. So like you said, probably a little out of practice. Haven't seen too much out of him, but I do expect him to slot somewhere around here.
Right.
After getting enough games.
The piece that just jumped out to me is the fact you said, I saw him trying to make plays, and that at least feeds into the metrics of what we want for a mid laner, right?
Yes.
He was trying to do things for the benefit of his team and set other people up, maybe not always working out. But now, let's roll back to the beginning of this conversation, which was about the way that the role has evolved, yes, over time, but also the importance of a mid laner to a team's chances at winning the LCS split. If Huhi is considered to be the worst mid laner that's ever won a split, and at the time was considered to be a top 4 mid laner, what's that line now? What level of mid laner do you need to be able to win a championship currently in the LCS?
I feel like, for me, if I put a line on here, I put it right under Golden Glue.
Okay.
I think Golden Glue and up, I can see them on championship winning teams. Maybe not all of them as the primary carry, but on C9, we saw Golden Glue reach a finals when they paired him up against Bjergsen with Svenskeren backing him up. So if you have a good team around him, I'm not saying necessarily Golden Guardians is a championship contender, but you could win.
Yeah, we're talking mid laners.
You put Golden Glue on C9, I think you can still win a championship with him. I think that's about where currently at the level people are playing it. I would say, yeah, Golden Glue in the right situation.
Right, you might be able to put me in the mid lane though on C9. And,
all right, maybe C9
still
a
win
little.
the champ. I don't know.
They might be a little stacked.
I don't know. They're pretty good. They might have broken the premise of the question.
I've seen your ass, Jungle. I'll save comments for later.
Why do you do that to me?
All right.
We're playing another game tonight.
My line is way higher than that, by the way.
Oh,
I got higher standards than this.
Oh, look at you.
I'm going actually cutting it off at number 4.
Wow.
Yeah, cutting it off
That
at number
actually
4.
is a significant jump in a 10 position
I
list.
thought about this a lot, and I think that these players are way better at sacrificing their own champion pool for the team, whereas down the line, you're seeing a lot more necessity of, I need this pick, you have to draft this early for me.
Dependence.
Yes, exactly. And when you're looking to win a championship, a lot of the times you don't need that dependence. You need somebody that can just take agency without any other resources. That's where I draw the line. Jensen, Bjergsen, PoE, and Niski.
Well, fact of the matter is, while many of these mid laners might be capable of winning a championship, they will have to do it with the given circumstances and the pieces around them in the LCS. As we turn to game 1 of the day, though, Papa weighed in on the progress 100 Thieves are making in response to Mark's proposed roster move. Oh, boy.
I think one of our big pain points when it comes to stage games has been being able to translate kind of Zix's aggressive mindset in and towards the gameplay we're seeing on stage. And that's something that I think we weren't able to do in some of our more disappointing games. So the fact that we've been able to do that pretty routinely in our last 3 says that something's working when it comes to our preparation. At the end of the day, I'm really aware of the kind of the community perception, and they're always going to be about wins first. We were super eyes open when we brought Tommy onto the lineup over other players with more LCS experience. We looked at the upside, we looked at the intangibles that he brings, and we still see those to this day. The job on him is to show the tangible, which is that performance on game day, which is such a small part of the week, but such an important one. He looked good yesterday, and we're hoping that he can continue to translate what he's preparing.
I think it's interesting because I've been more impressed by Ryoma than my initial assumptions were when it's like, oh, mid laner coming over, how good is he going to be? I've seen him take some really difficult trades and do well. It's what Papa's saying about the tangibles and making sure that you can do that day after day in the consistency.
I think the most impressive thing about him was actually the game where he lost lane to Bjergsen so hard, yet still found a way to make an impact in team fights. So impressive.
Super cool to watch that kid grow, and it sounds like Papa and 100 Thieves have every intent of continuing to invest in him. Let's get your predictions on the board for the day. We will see updated scores as yesterday's prediction. Yes, actually did really service Mark, now moving into 2nd position. Only 1 prediction behind you.
Coming.
Yeah, he had a big day.
I had a bad day yesterday, but why are you going against Team Liquid?
I think I looked at things wrong, because that should not be 100 to 100. As much as I'm pretending I'm their GM today, that's not right. I think I might have submitted them wrong.
Okay, I'll believe
I'm
that.
not crazy.
I like that you're open up to it being your screw up, though.
I don't think this was.
All right, well, technically it's before the game is played, so are you officially declaring that you're making a TL prediction?
Hot swap me back to Team Liquid.
A TL prediction
I've taken
for
my
Mark.
Papa Smithy suit off. I'm back to Mark.
Okay.
Well, that means that you guys are in total alignment, but this is interesting to me because, again, it doesn't to me sound like Game 1 is super lopsided, and it even doesn't sound to me like Game 2. We talk about a hot and cold Dignitas against a FlyQuest, who, yes, is our current number 2, but only a game or 2 ahead of everyone else. Yeah, you guys are you're calling the shots all one side today.
Well, it feels like from the matches that we saw yesterday, the highs that the teams that we're predicting to win just felt a lot stronger than what we're seeing out of the teams that we predicted against. So, for example, Team Liquid's high felt better than 100 Thieves is because of how decisive that win was.
And I think for me, where 100 Thieves is weak, Team Liquid's weak with Tactical stepping in. We haven't seen that really where 100 Thieves exploit.
Gotcha.
If this was a substitute top laner versus 100 Thieves, I'd be a lot more concerned than a bot laner.
Interesting. Well, we are about to head into that first game of the day, so I do want to get win conditions on the board. Team Liquid, that's going to be you, Crumbs. Go ahead.
All right, pretty quick. I want to get impact on that matchup with agency. I don't want to see him on the Kale versus Set matchup. I want to see him on the Set. I want to see him on the Ornn, something that lets him make the plays he wants. And then a strong 2v2 for Broxa and Jensen, because I think the key to the early game will be strike Ryoma and Meteos early. Make sure you put Meteos down and then use the advantages your laners are getting. Snowball the game, get an easy win.
Well, so just as you tell me you don't think 100 Thieves are going to do it, I'm going to make you tell me how they do.
Well, it's funny because it's what I said I don't think they're good at, which is attacking bot lane. That's
Great.
actually what I want them to do. I want them to ban the MF. I think it's one of the easiest marksmen to contribute in team fights just with pressing R.
Yep.
I want to pick a skilly bot lane, so things like Zyra Khan into like a Nautilus or something like that, where you can still have kill threat and it's a bit more of a skill match. And then camp it.
Wow.
I want to camp bot
Everything's
lane.
going bot lane.
I want
man.
all bot lane because, like Crumbs is saying about targeting mid jungle and how Impact's so good in top side on the weak side of maps, I find like those might be a little bit harder to exploit. So I want to attack the new guy. And Meteos is really good about finding creative paths.
Meteos found first blood in the bot lane yesterday on that Rek'Sai, so we'll see if he can do something similar today to take down Team Liquid. Will Tactical go 2-0 in the LCS, though? I think that's the real question on everyone's mind, making those stats look
Better than
even better.
Doublelift.
He's
Good
better than
debut.
Doublelift. There it is. With that, we're throwing it out to the arena for the call.